Hey guys, I thought that I would just show you what I did tonight here, since I can get my meter lead. So my voltage in my house has been running about 124-ish. So I needed to drop the voltage to this radio. That when this radio was designed, it was designed to run on around 100 and somewhere between 108 and 110 volts. So what I did was I did the calculation and I came up with the voltage drop that I needed to do. That I needed a 20 ohm resistor. So I ordered me a 20 ohm 100 watt resistor, which the 100 watts is probably way overkill. But because this radio has a bottom that screws to this, it'll be enclosed. It's not going to have much airflow to it. So I figure 100 watt is never going to get even probably warm. I'm going to run it now for an hour or two just to see, but I think it's going to be perfectly fine. But I wanted to show you that this is the resistor right here. So it's a 20 ohm 100 watt. So I'll turn on, first of all I'll show you my household current here as it's coming into the radio here. If I can get on there, my thing here. So right now we're running 124. So let's turn the radio on. Get where I can turn the radio on. Of course I'm in the way of my switch. There we go. Hopefully you're still in camera with the, yeah you are, okay. So now the switch is on, and let's see what the resistor's done for us. There we are, 110.7. So perfect voltage for this radio to live at. So that's what I am going to leave in there. I'm going to leave this now running for about an hour or so, and fill the periodically. We'll check the resistor. I don't expect to feel anything, but I'll keep an eye on it. But I wanted to show you guys that before I button up the bottom of this radio, because radio is pretty much done. I just got to button it on up.
A lot of my favorite songs are not the ones that got played all the time.
I'm going to run it here for about an hour or so and let it see what we do here.
Or EPI may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable. But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
I need results, so I choose the one system I trust to take weeds down and keep them down on even my toughest acres. With the Roundup Ready Extend crop system, I get the proven performance of Roundup Ready 2 Extend soybeans, combined with XtendiMax herbicides than any other soybean system. Up to 14 days of soil activity on labeled weeds.
Alright folks, so the radio's been on for a little over an hour, and the power resistor is warm. It's not hot by any way, shape, or form. So I'd say this is successful. The voltage was sitting at 110.9, 111.1. As it heated up, it raised slightly, or my input voltage might have raised a little bit too. I think this is going to be good. I think I'm going to go ahead and close this up, get the bottom cleaned up and get the bottom on it, and we'll go from there. So what we're looking at here is the faceplate from the Atwater Kent 55C. And what Atwater Kent did at the time was they had a metal plate, and they had a faux wood finish on it. As you can see, you kind of see the wood grain. And they actually did a good job with it. I mean, it does look like wood, but the problem with it is this radio was played so much that it got wore off around the knob area. And I was looking last night to see what I could do for faux finish, and I couldn't find anything online. So it was a hard decision for me to come up with, but I was like, that keel cabinet is so nice, and the radio looks so pretty that I couldn't put this in here. So here's my plan. I'm planning on having, obviously, the metal, get my fingers out of your way. But I'm going to put a piece of veneer, wood veneer on top of it. Very thin wood veneer. So it'll be real wood that's showing through when you have the door open on the cabinet. I hate to put it on there because I know that's not right, but I can't live with that. And I don't want to just spray paint it brown or something like that either. So I'm going to make it a wood panel. Really, when this is installed in the radio, you see like a V shape like this through the opening. So I'm going to go ahead and just cover it. I'll take it down to where the metal curves, because there's a curve on the metal both at the top and at the bottom. And bring it to the edges and glue that down. I'll have to take the bezel off. I'll have to take this off and this off. Glue that on, get the openings cut out, and then put that stuff back in it. But that's what I'm going to do, this faceplate. That's the faceplate. I've got the veneer glued onto it right now and all clamped. I think it's going to look okay. I think it's going to look okay. Alright, so here's what we have. This is the faceplate. I got to cut my holes in it now, sand it down, and get some. I need to darken it up some, obviously, and get more of a red tint to it because the table is more of a red tint, reddish tint. So I've got to see what I'm going to do with this. Probably need to put some grain filler on it, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. It's pretty chilly outside. It's only in the low 40s, and that grain filler is flammable vapors. I had a little bit of bleed through. This is very thin veneer. I had a little bit of bleed through in a couple spots with the glue. So I'm hoping that when I sand those, it'll make it so you can't see that. Anyway, I was going to show you guys what I used to glue that. That's what I had, so that's what I used. Seemed to work pretty good once I clamped it. So it says it's for wood, metal, acrylic, carpet, laminate, polypropylene, and PVC. So we were metal and wood, so I figured it'd work. It's the heavier bond one. So I think it'll hold on there okay. I hope so anyway. But that's what we have, and like I said, I kept the edge below the rounded section, and I think it turned out pretty good. Looked like it might have a little bit of a loose lamination right there on the actual, not between the metal and this, but actually in the piece of veneer, so I'll probably put a little super glue in that. But I'm going to get my little palm sander. Well, before I do the palm sander, I think I'm going to try and cut these openings out. Let me get set up for that. Alright, so here's what we got. I wanted to see how I was going to do this before I brought you guys on screen. What I did was I pre-drilled a hole through each piece. And then I've got a burr bit in my die grinder. I went ahead and did this one. Because this is metal backing behind it, I can just kind of go around and do it. So I think that's what we're going to do here. And first one turned out pretty good, so let's see how the rest of this goes. See if I can keep you all guys on camera. I'm going to do it from the back side this time. And that last one I did on the front side, but I kind of like to know where I'm at with my tool in the metal. So let's try this again. Alright, so all that leaves is this hole right here. And I gotta figure out a better way to do that one. So I think I'm gonna try a little bitty drill bit for that one. Let me grab a drill bit. Alright, I'm gonna try a little bitty drill bit in that hole. I've got it down on my workbench because I'm trying to get a backing against it so that minimizes possible tear out. Alright, yeah, that seemed to work pretty good. There's the hole right there. It's not ragged at all. Let me see if I can open it up some, the drill bit. Yeah, it looks open. Alright, let me go over this with some sandpaper now. And we'll see what we get. I'm going to taper those in a little bit manually first, I think, with just some by hand here. Okay, I got some 400 on my orbital here, and we'll just hit this real quick. It ain't going to take much. Well, it looks pretty good, actually. I like the looks of the grain in it. But overall, I think that's going to look pretty good. Again, when this is in the radio, you only see a section like this. So, well, the next step is going to be to get some color on this to get it closer to the color of the radio, and the bezel back on here, and the switch cover on here, and the little black, whatever the heck you want to call that. Anywho, let me get some color on this. I'm still trying to figure out. I may have to go to the store and get me a little tiny can of red mahogany, because I think everything I've got is dark walnut. Okay, so here's the final product before I put the bezels and such on here. It turned out pretty good. I think it turned out pretty good. So I'll get the rest of the bezels on here and we'll go from there. Good morning, folks. Sunday morning. I just finished the bezel, or faceplate, or whatever you want to call it. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. It doesn't look as red in person as it does in this video, but the shading's about perfect for the radio. I went up and held it up to the radio. So I'm getting ready to put this on the radio. I did take some creative liberties here. This bezel and this button were originally painted black on the radio as it came from the factory, but I went ahead and used some 4/0 steel wool and kind of polished them up a little bit, not to a high shine finish. Same with this. I still wanted it to look antique-y a bit, but not like brand new. So that's that. I'm going to get ready to go put this on the radio. We'll come back in a minute. Okie dokie, folks. I've got the faceplate back on the radio. I think it turned out pretty darn good, even if I do say so myself. So let's take a quick look at the radio now that it's all together. I love the way it looks, just with the tubes being exposed and the tuners being exposed. But obviously I can't keep it that way. So I've got to put my top plate back on, which, if you remember, the black crazed on it, so I'm not thrilled about it. But I really can't do anything about it until spring. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on here. Tighten the little thumb nuts down. And there it is. Top shot, except for the crazed black paint. I'm pretty happy with it. So, next up, let's go up and marry it up to the keel table. Alright, folks, here she is in all her glory. If you notice, I have the ground and the antenna plugged in down there, and I drilled a hole in the floor so I could run the ground to a water pipe, and the antenna's probably 20 foot down there in the basement on my rafters, or floor joist I guess it would be. So let's take a look. So that's what she looks like. This camera lights things up much brighter than what it actually is, and that panel actually matches much better than it looks like in this picture here, and the grain's darker than it looks in the picture here too. But anyway, it's there. And then here's the top. Got my short, long, and antenna and wire on there, and ground, speaker plugged in, and cord going over there being plugged into the wall. So let's fire it up. And so we have lights. Looks like we got some tube lights. A little bit of speaker hum.
I was on the sideline and I was blown away. I was not surprised he went to Houston. I'm not surprised he's excelling at quarterback down there.
Unfortunately, all we have is talk radio here where I live on AM.
Can throw the football as good a release as you can ever see as a quarterback. On the other hand, Jackson was someone I wasn't quite sure of. I didn't like his motion. I saw him at Louisville. He won the Heisman. He's a pretty special player. But I did not think he would be.
I figured out that this speaker hum that I've got is the current on the wall warts in my house, because I started unplugging them and it got much better. Unfortunately, I can't turn it all off. Those two sconce lights affected it the most.
And Jackson is the new NFL, as you said, and it's also the NFL of the future. We will see more and more kids like
there she is, folks.
They just got to protect themselves. And
we're all happy with the way it turned out. I just got to fix that crazed paint.
In their 8th, 9th year, they slow down, and they will slow down.
You know, another game of the AFC going on Monday night in Mexico City, Howie, is now a big game of the AFC West all of a sudden.
Really, all I pick up is our local. I'm too far out in the sticks to pick anything else up.
Well, they've got the quarterback that I think is the perfect combination of what you're talking about. The guy that can beat you in the pocket, high stand plays, he's looking to throw the football. They started out as a...
There she is. And here it is, put back with all my wife's stuff on it.